I thought my marriage was solid. 6 years with Andrea, plans for a new house, maybe kids soon. Then she started coming home late, phone always face down, distant smiles replacing real conversation. One Friday night she walked in at 10, barely touched the dinner I made, and said those words that shatter everything. "We need to talk. Seriously." I knew right then my world was about to collapse. Before I tell you how everything fell apart in one conversation, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe, because what happened next taught me that sometimes the person who betrays you is not your only enemy, and justice comes from the most unexpected places. Now let me take you back to that night when everything changed. I met Andrea 8 years ago at a coffee shop in Portland. She was reading a book on marketing strategies. I was reviewing blueprints for a bridge project. Our eyes met over the pastry counter, and something just clicked. We dated for 2 years before I proposed at Cannon Beach during sunset. The wedding was small, intimate, everything we wanted. For 6 years I believed we had built something real. Andrea worked as a marketing manager for a mid-size firm downtown. I was a civil engineer for the city. Our schedules meshed well. We would meet for lunch twice a week, cook dinner together, most nights take our golden retriever, Max, on long walks through the park. Every summer we took 2 weeks off and traveled somewhere new. Last year it was Colorado. The year before, the coast of California. We had a good life. At least I thought we did. Our families got along great. Her parents loved me, mine adored her. We hosted Thanksgiving, attended her sister's kids' birthday parties, spent Christmas mornings opening presents in our living room. We had talked about starting our own family. Andrea wanted to wait until she made senior manager. I was fine with that. We were saving for a bigger house, something with a yard for kids and Max. Everything felt like it was moving in the right direction. Then, about 4 months ago, things shifted. Andrea landed a major client, some tech company expanding their brand presence. She was excited, energized, but that energy came with late nights. She started getting home at 8, then 9, sometimes 10 at night. When I asked about it, she would say the client was demanding lots of meetings, strategy sessions running long. I wanted to be supportive. I knew career pressure, so I did not push. But other things changed too. Her phone became an extension of her hand, always with her, even to the bathroom. She used to leave it on the kitchen counter while we ate dinner. Now it stayed face down next to her plate, lighting up with notifications she would glance at and ignore. When I walked into a room, she would tilt the screen away or close whatever she was looking at. Little things, subtle things, things that planted seeds of doubt. She stopped asking about my day. Used to be the first thing when I got home. How was work? Any interesting projects? Now she barely looked up from her laptop. Our conversations became transactional. Did you pay the electric bill? Can you pick up Max's food? We need to schedule the car maintenance. Nothing deeper. Nothing real. The physical distance grew too. We used to be affectionate. Holding hands while watching TV, goodnight kisses, that meant something. That faded. She was always tired. Headaches. Early meetings. I tried not to take it personally, but it was hard. 3 months without real intimacy. Every attempt I made was met with an excuse. One night around midnight I woke up thirsty and went to the kitchen. Andrea was on the couch, phone glowing in her face, smiling at the screen. Actually smiling. I had not seen her smile like that in weeks. When she noticed me, the smile vanished. She locked the phone quickly. "Just a funny meme from a coworker," she said. I got my water and went back to bed, but sleep did not come easy. After that, I started noticing more. New clothes appearing in her closet. Outfits I had never seen. She was wearing perfume every day, even for work meetings she claimed were virtual. She started going to the gym before work, something she never did before. Her hair was always styled, makeup always done. I told myself she was just taking better care of herself, feeling confident. But deep down I knew. I tried talking to her. One evening after she came home at 9:30, I sat her down. I told her I felt like we were drifting apart, that I missed her, that I wanted us to reconnect. She looked at me with tired eyes and said I was overthinking it. Work was stressful. She promised once the project wrapped up, things would go back to normal. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her. The following week I came home early from a site inspection that got canceled. Andrea was in the bedroom video call on her laptop. When she heard me, she jumped quickly, closing the laptop. "Oh, you are home early," she said, flustered. I asked who she was talking to. A client, she said. They wanted a last-minute check-in, but her face was red, her voice shaky. I did not press it. Maybe I should have. 2 weeks before everything exploded, I suggested we take a weekend trip. Just us, no work, no phones. Reconnect like we used to. She said she could not. The project was at a critical stage. Maybe next month, she said. Next month never came. That Friday night, I made her favorite meal. Lemon herb, chicken roasted, vegetables, garlic bread. I set the table with candles, poured wine, tried to create the atmosphere we used to have. When she walked in at 10, she barely glanced at the table. She picked at her food, moving it around the plate more than eating. I asked about her day. She gave one-word answers. Fine, busy, tired. After dinner, I started cleaning up. She sat on the couch, staring at her phone. Then she put it down, looked at me, and said those words. Bailey, we need to talk. Seriously. My stomach dropped. I knew. Somehow I knew. I sat down across from her. The silence stretched between us, heavy and suffocating. She took a breath and said it. I have been seeing someone else. Just like that. No build-up, no softer way to say it. The room tilted. I felt like someone punched me in the chest and I could not catch my breath. I stared at her, waiting for her to say she was joking, that this was some awful misunderstanding. But her face was set, resolved. She had made her decision before this conversation even started. How long, I managed to ask. 3 months, she said. 3 months. While I was making her dinner, walking Max, planning our future, she was with someone else. Who is he? I asked. His name is Grant, she said. He works for the client company, senior director. They started spending a lot of time together for the project. Then it became more. She said it like she was explaining a business merger, detached, clinical. I asked the question I did not want the answer to. Did you sleep with him? She did not answer right away. The silence was answer enough. Then she nodded. Yes, multiple times. In his car, in hotel rooms, probably in our bed when I was working late. My mind raced through every late night, every excuse, every lie. I felt sick. What do you want? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. I want a divorce, she said. I am moving in with him. She said it so matter-of-factly, like she was discussing switching cable providers. No emotion, no remorse. She had already decided. Already planned her exit while I was living in oblivion. I did not yell. I did not beg. I just sat there numb. 6 years of marriage, 8 years together, reduced to this moment on a Friday night with cold chicken and dying candles. She told me she had already spoken to a lawyer. Papers were being drawn up. She had found an apartment with Grant downtown, something upscale. She would come get her things over the weekend. I asked her if any of it meant anything. The wedding vows, the promises, the life we built. She looked away. I am sorry, Bailey, but I am not happy anymore. Grant makes me feel alive. Those words cut deeper than the affair itself. I was not enough. Our life was not enough. I made her feel dead inside, apparently. She got up, went to the bedroom, came back with a pillow and blanket. She was sleeping on the couch. In our house. The audacity. She did not even have the decency to leave that night. The next morning she was gone before I woke up. No note, no goodbye, just an empty space where my wife used to be. I called in sick to work on Monday. I could not function, could not think. I wandered around the house like a ghost. Everything reminded me of her. Of us. Of what I thought we were. Max stayed close to me, sensing something was wrong. Dogs know. They always know. That weekend, Andrea came with a van. And Grant. She brought him to our house, to help her move her things. I watched from the upstairs window as he carried boxes, laughing with her like they were moving into their first place together, which I guess they were. Grant was tall, fit, wore expensive clothes, drove a black BMW. Looked like every successful corporate guy you see in commercials. The confidence radiated off him. He had won. He got my wife, and he did not even have the shame to hide it. They loaded up the van with her clothes, her books, some furniture she claimed was hers. I stayed upstairs. I could not face them, could not trust myself to stay calm. When they finally left, I went downstairs. The house felt hollow. There were empty spaces on the shelves where her things used to be. Half the closet was bare. The bathroom counter had gaps where her products sat, erased. She erased herself from my life in one afternoon. The following week was a blur. I went to work but did not really work, stared at blueprints without seeing them. Colleagues asked if I was okay. I said I was fine. I was not fine. At night I would look at our wedding photos, try to pinpoint when it went wrong. When did she stop loving me? Was it gradual or sudden? Did I miss signs earlier than 4 months ago? The questions ate at me. Her lawyer sent divorce papers. She wanted half of everything. Half the house we bought together, half our savings, half the retirement accounts. The papers cited irreconcilable differences. No mention of the affair, of course. That would not look good. I met with a lawyer. He said Oregon is a no-fault state, but infidelity could affect asset division. We started building a case. I heard through mutual friends that Andrea and Grant were living it up in their new place. Fancy dinners, weekend getaways, posting photos online like they were some power couple. It made me sick. Not because I wanted her back, but because she faced no consequences. She blew up our marriage and got to ride off into the sunset with her affair partner. Where was the justice in that? Then on a Thursday afternoon, 2 weeks after she moved out, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost did not answer. But something made me pick up. A woman's voice, calm but with an edge. Is this Bailey? Yes, who is this? My name is Diane. I am Grant's wife. We need to talk. The words did not register at first. Grant's wife. Grant had a wife. He was married. Andrea was having an affair with a married man, which meant there was another person out there betrayed just like me. Diane continued. I found out about them 2 days ago. I got your number from messages on his phone. Can we meet? I think we should talk face to face. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop on the east side, neutral territory. I got there early, ordered a black coffee I did not drink, and waited. Diane walked in 15 minutes later. She was in her mid-30s, brown hair pulled back, dressed professionally. She looked tired, like she had not slept much. But there was a sharpness in her eyes, a determination. She sat down across from me, ordered nothing, and got straight to it. I have been married to Grant for 8 years, she said. We have 2 kids, a girl who just turned 7 and a boy who is 5. For the past few months, Grant has been distant, claimed he was traveling for work, staying late at the office. I trusted him. I had no reason not to, until I found a receipt for an apartment rental in his car. An apartment we do not own. When I confronted him, he tried to lie. But I pushed. Eventually, he admitted he rented a place with someone from work. Your wife. She said it without venom, just cold facts. I told her my side. How Andrea had been distant, the late nights, the lies. How she left me for him. How they moved in together without a second thought. Diane listened, her jaw tightening. She pulled out her phone and showed me screenshots. Text messages between Grant and Andrea. Planning dates, talking about their future, complaining about their spouses. In one message, Andrea called me boring. Grant called Diane controlling. They mocked us while we stayed home oblivious. Diane had more. Bank statements showing Grant had drained a significant portion of their joint savings to pay for the new apartment. He had taken money meant for their kids' education, their family vacations, their future, and spent it on his affair. Diane worked as a financial advisor. She knew how to track money, and she had tracked every dishonest dollar. She looked at me across the table. I am not letting him get away with this, she said. And I do not think you should let her either. I have a plan. Do you want to make them pay? Her words hung in the air. Part of me wanted to just move on, sign the papers, let them have their toxic relationship. But another part, the part that was angry and hurt and tired of being the victim, said yes. Yes, I do. Diane laid it out. She had evidence. Lots of it. Messages, receipts, bank records. She had proof that Grant used marital funds inappropriately. Proof of the affair. She had also discovered that Grant had been using his company credit card for some of their dates, which violated his employment contract. She had contacts, resources. She had already consulted with a top divorce attorney who specialized in cases involving infidelity and financial misconduct. Her plan was simple but effective. We would confront them together. Not with anger or violence, but with lawyers and evidence. We would show up at their new apartment with legal representation and make it clear that their actions had consequences. We would file for divorce under terms that protected us, not them. We would ensure that they did not just walk away from the mess they created without facing the fallout. I agreed. Over the next week, Diane and I worked together. We hired 2 excellent attorneys. I provided documentation of the assets. Andrea and I shared proof of her abandonment, copies of the messages I had found. Diane provided her mountain of evidence against Grant. The lawyers drew up divorce papers that were airtight, papers that outlined exactly what each of us was entitled to and what Andrea and Grant would not get. We planned the confrontation for a Monday morning, early when they would both be home before work. Diane found out which apartment was theirs through the rental agreement Grant had foolishly left accessible. Floor 15, Unit 1503. High-rise downtown, floor-to-ceiling windows, expensive rent. All funded by betrayal. That Monday morning I put on my best suit. I wanted to look composed, in control. Diane met me in the lobby of the building with both attorneys. She wore a navy dress, heels, looked every bit the professional woman who was not here to play games. The attorneys were sharp, carried briefcases, exuded authority. We took the elevator up in silence. My heart pounded. This was it. We reached the door. Unit 1503. Diane and I exchanged a look. She nodded. I rang the doorbell. We waited. I heard footsteps, then the door opened. Andrea stood there in pajama pants and an oversized shirt, hair messy, clearly just woke up. Her eyes went wide when she saw me. "Bailey, what are you doing here?" Before I could answer, Diane stepped forward. "Hello, Andrea. I am Grant's wife." The color drained from Andrea's face. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Behind her, I heard Grant's voice. "Who is it, babe?" Then he appeared, shirtless, coffee mug in hand. He saw Diane and froze. The mug slipped from his hand and shattered on the hardwood floor. "What are you doing here, surprise, darling?" Diane said, her voice icy. My attorney stepped forward and handed Andrea an envelope. "Divorce papers," he said calmly. "I suggest you read them carefully." Diane's attorney did the same with Grant. "You will find we have documented everything," she said. "The affair, the misuse of marital funds, the breach of your employment agreement. You will also find that the terms are non-negotiable." Andrea looked at me, betrayal in her eyes. I almost laughed. "How could I?" I asked. "You are seriously asking me that?" Grant tried to speak. "Look, we can talk about this. Let us all calm down." Diane cut him off. "There is nothing to talk about, Grant. You destroyed our family. You stole from our children. You lied for months. Now you face the consequences." The lawyers explained the terms. Andrea would get minimal assets from our divorce due to the adultery. I would keep the house, the majority of our savings. Grant would lose his claim to most of the assets he shared with Diane, would owe substantial child support, and faced potential legal trouble with his employer. The evidence was overwhelming. They had no leg to stand on. Andrea started to cry. Grant ran his hands through his hair, pacing. "This is insane," he kept saying. "This is insane." But it was not insane. It was justice. It was two people who had been betrayed deciding they would not go quietly. Diane and I did not yell. We did not threaten. We just stood there with our lawyers and let the reality sink in for them. We left after about 20 minutes. There was nothing more to say. The legal process would take its course. As we rode the elevator down, Diane looked at me. "Thank you," she said, "for doing this with me." I nodded. "Thank you," I replied, "for calling me." The weeks that followed moved quickly. Andrea tried to reach out, sent texts asking if we could talk. I did not respond. My lawyer handled all communication. She tried to negotiate for better terms. My lawyer shut it down. The evidence was clear. She had abandoned the marriage for another man. In Oregon, that mattered. Grant's situation got worse. Diane's lawyer filed for full custody of their kids. Grant had to move out of the apartment he could not afford, alone moved back in with his parents. His company launched an internal investigation into his misuse of the corporate card. Within a month he was terminated. No severance, no references. His career took a major hit. Andrea lost her job too. The scandal reached her office. Her boss did not appreciate the drama, the distraction. She was let go under the guise of restructuring, but everyone knew why. Without her income, and with Grant out of work, they could not sustain the lifestyle they thought they were building. The fairy tale crumbled fast under the weight of reality. I heard from a mutual friend that Andrea and Grant started fighting constantly. Money, stress, job stress, the reality that their relationship was built on lies and fantasy rather than anything solid. Within 3 months of moving in together, they broke up. Andrea moved in with her sister. Grant stayed with his parents. They could not stand each other once the thrill wore off. The divorce was finalized 4 months after that night. Andrea told me she wanted out. I got the house, 3/4 of our savings, and my freedom. Diane got full custody, a significant child support agreement, and the satisfaction of knowing Grant faced real consequences. We both moved forward. The first few months after the divorce were hard. Not because I missed Andrea. I realized pretty quickly that I did not. I missed the idea of her, the life I thought we had. But the real Andrea, the one who could lie and cheat and walk away without remorse, I did not miss her at all. What hurt was the betrayal itself. The feeling of being made a fool. That took time to get over. I started seeing a therapist. It helped. She taught me that what Andrea did was her choice, her failing, not mine. I did not make her cheat. I did not drive her away. She made selfish decisions and hurt people in the process. That was on her. Learning to internalize that, to really believe it was a process. But slowly I did. I started going to the gym regularly. Not to impress anyone, but because it felt good. Lifting weights, running, pushing my body helped clear my mind. I rediscovered hobbies I had let slide. I started playing guitar again, something I loved in college but stopped when life got busy. I went on hikes with Max, long trails in the mountains where the air was clean and the views endless. Those moments of solitude helped me heal. I cleaned out the house, got rid of things that reminded me of Andrea, redecorated, made it mine. Painted the bedroom a different color, bought new furniture, hung up photos from trips I took alone. The house stopped feeling like a museum of a failed marriage and started feeling like home again. Diane and I stayed in touch. We became real friends, bonded by shared experience. She was doing well. Her kids were adjusting. She threw herself into work, got a promotion, was building a new life. We would grab coffee every few weeks, check in on each other. It was nice having someone who understood exactly what I went through. About a year after everything happened, I ran into Andrea at a grocery store. It was unavoidable, a small city. She was in the produce section looking at apples. She saw me and hesitated. I could have walked away, but I did not. I walked over. She looked different, thinner, tired, less of the spark she used to have. She tried to smile. "Hey, Bailey," she said quietly. "Hey," I replied. She asked how I was. I said I was good. Really good, actually. She said she was glad. Then she said she was sorry. For everything. For how it ended. For the pain she caused. I looked at her for a moment. I could see she meant it, at least partly. But it did not change anything. I told her I appreciated the apology, that I hoped she found what she was looking for. And I walked away. No anger, no bitterness, just indifference. And that felt like the biggest victory of all. I realized something important over that year. Pain is a part of life. Betrayal happens. People disappoint you. But how you respond to that pain defines who you are. I could have become bitter, angry, closed off. Instead, I chose to learn, to grow, to become a better version of myself. Diane and I did not destroy Andrea and Grant out of spite. We held them accountable using the tools available to us. We protected ourselves legally and financially. We did it with dignity. I learned to value the people who stayed. My family who supported me through everything. My friends who checked in even when I pushed them away. My therapist who helped me process. Max who was always there with unconditional love. Those were the relationships that mattered, not the one built on lies. I also learned the importance of self-love. For years I tied my worth to my marriage, to being a good husband. When that ended, I felt worthless. But therapy taught me that my value is not determined by someone else's perception or treatment of me. I am enough on my own. I do not need someone else to complete me. That realization was freeing. Now I focus on my career. I got a promotion at work, lead a team on major infrastructure projects. I travel occasionally for work, see new cities. I spend time with friends, go on dates here and there, but I am not rushing into anything. I am content being alone, being with myself. And when the right person comes along, if they do, it will be because I am whole, not because I am looking for someone to fill a void. Looking back, as strange as it sounds, I am grateful, not for the pain but for what it taught me. That divorce, as brutal as it was, freed me from a relationship that was not real. It pushed me to become stronger, more self-aware, more resilient. It showed me who my real friends are. It taught me that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you ends up being the catalyst for the best changes. Diane said something to me once that stuck. She said betrayal reveals character, not just the character of the person who betrays you, but your own. How you handle it, how you move forward, that is what matters. Andrea and Grant revealed who they were. Selfish, short-sighted, willing to hurt others for their own desires. But Diane and I revealed who we were too. Strong, resourceful, unwilling to be victims. I will take that any day. So here I am a year and a half later. Single, independent, genuinely happy. I own a house I love, have a job I am good at, friends I trust, a dog who thinks I am the best person alive. I wake up every day without the weight of lies and deceit. I sleep well at night knowing I handled everything with integrity. And honestly, I would not change a thing. Sometimes the worst betrayal leads you to the best version of yourself. And that is exactly what happened to me. If you have ever been betrayed, ever had someone you trusted turn your world upside down, drop a comment below and share your story. How did you handle it? What did you learn? Hit that like button if this story resonated with you, and subscribe for more real-life stories about overcoming the hardest moments. Share this with someone who might need to hear that they can get through betrayal stronger than before. Thank you for listening to my story. I wish you strength, healing, and the courage to choose yourself when it matters most. Take care.